to She's No Ordinary Entrepreneur, the podcast, episode 2. Thank you so much for coming back. As you guys can see, I'm in Spain at the minute. I'm here for the summer. I've got this stunning mountain scenery behind me. If you're on audio, I'm just showing everybody the mountains here. If you're not watching me on YouTube, go head over to my YouTube channel, She's No Ordinary Entrepreneur, and subscribe. And you know this is not a green screen because you can see my clean sheets hanging up there. So I was actually going to do a completely different podcast for episode 2, but I thought I'd throw out the question to my audience on Instagram, what they wanted to hear from me, and I got the same from multiple people. They wanted to know how I had a work-life balance when I had my salon. So I had a conversation with someone recently about me starting this podcast before I actually did it, and she said, if you're gonna have a podcast, make sure you've got a few episodes recorded prior, so then you're not chasing your tail and you can throw them up. And obviously I agreed with her. I was like, yeah, of course, because I actually had the same thought before she said it. So I was like, yeah. But when I felt into it, when I actually sat and thought about it, when I sat and thought about recording my second podcast, it actually made me feel pressure and it didn't feel good in my body. So that was my intuition saying, actually, this type of pressure isn't the right pressure, because obviously there's 2 different types of pressure. There's pressure that is good pressure, it pushes you to do things that you need to do, and then there's pressure that is constricting and it's telling you it's not actually what you should be doing and you're putting too much on your plate, right? So pressure is not good or bad, it's just literally a sensation that's guiding you to where you need to go. But I thought, this is funny, because I also had the same thought. I needed to have a bank of podcasts. And then I asked myself, okay, why? Where is this coming from? Why do I need a bank of podcasts? Well, I don't. I'd recorded the first podcast and the inspiration hadn't hit for my second subject. So I was just like, I'm doing this because I want to do it and I love sharing my stories. Actually, because we're outside and we're not inside, you might hear like a little bit of traffic, like there isn't really much on here, but I'm hoping that you don't hear too much, because I decided not to record with my microphones because this quality of the sound was worse than the camera, than the phone microphone. Anyway, where was I? I digress. Yeah, so I really asked myself, I got curious, where is this coming from? And it wasn't coming from me. It was coming from the external world, some sort of conditioning outside of me that told me I need to be prepared and I need to have a weekly podcast, or I need to have a set time that I release them every week. This is just what other people do. It doesn't mean that it's what I need to do. So this brings me back to the question, how do you find a work-life balance? And it's exactly that. It's listening to your damn self. It's knowing what is right for you and what is actually coming from the outside world. When we can take a second to listen to our own body and give ourselves what we need because it's right for us, that's when we start creating more space, and that's when we start creating more balance in our lives. And this is something I teach my clients, and it's something I really want you guys to implement and learn how to do as well. It's about going to your inner world. When we have too much focus on everything outside of us, that's when it starts to get overwhelming, and that's when it starts to kind of create some sort of chaos. So let me take you back, way back to when I had the salon. So I don't know exactly when I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to talk about the whole experience for me in general. So I had the salon for 6 years, and during that time, there was so many patterns that just kept repeating themselves. And because you guys have asked me how I created a work-life balance, and I'm going to tell you a story and then I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be completely real and honest with you. So the main patterns that kept showing up in my life were the recruitment. So recruiting, hiring new team members, training them not being up to the standard of the service I wanted to provide for my clients, or they weren't in alignment with my vision that I had for my life and for the business. So then I'd either have to sack them, or they would cause absolute mayhem, and it would, eventually they would leave. And at the time I was blaming, yes, I was in blame. I was in victimhood when I had that salon. I was blaming them. But really, it was all me. Everything that I was attracting, those cycles of recruiting, finding the wrong staff, having to sack them, having to recruit again, it was just going round and round and round, and it was actually exhausting. But like I said, it was all me. Now, in hindsight, I realise that it was me, my vibration, my belief system, everything that I was attracting to me. It was just a reflection. It was a complete mirror of what I believed was available, what I believed I could have, and what I believed I was worthy of. And also, there were other things as well that would be on loop in my personal life. So with relationships with men, relationships with my friends, my girlfriends, family as well. And there was other addictive patterns. Like, I was working 6 or 7 days a week. I wasn't taking much time off. When I did have days off, I would work. I didn't have much holiday. I did, to be honest, there were a few years that I did actually go on quite a few holidays. People would comment and be like, well, do you ever work? Like, you've gone on holiday 4 times this year. Like, and I'm thinking, I fucking worked my ass off to be able to do that. That's why I've gone on holiday. But in those moments, their judgments were affecting me. I was allowing their judgments to tell me and reinforce my unconscious beliefs about work. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. So the reason I was attracting these cycles and these patterns over and over is because there was a deep-rooted belief that I've picked up from either childhood or through my DNA, through my lineage, because I'm from an immigrant Italian family, and they immigrated over to the UK in the 50s. My grandparents did, because there was no work. They had that poor lack mentality, and that's obviously what they have passed on to the next generation. And then unconsciously, me and my sister had also picked up on this as well within our family. The belief being, we have to struggle to be successful. We have to work our asses off and work really, really, really hard for us to receive just a small amount, which then we lose, because then we have to pay the money out, or things have to get paid for. This was the belief system. It's like, we have to work really, really, really hard, and then we get a little in return, and then the cycle repeats. So underneath my overworking patterns was this belief. And from my experiences and not knowing how to process emotions, how to process the trauma, and how to break cycles and create new belief systems that were empowering, through all of that, there were just more and more belief systems that were locking into each other, like deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, I'm going to tell you how I realized this is what was happening and how I broke the cycle. So now let me take you back, right? So if we're talking energetics, and if our vibration attracts everything to us, this is what was happening. My belief was so ingrained in my electromagnetic field that it was playing out in all areas of my life: my health, my work, my relationships, my money as well. So to cut a long story short, to give you a straight up answer, how did I manage a work-life balance when I had the salon? I didn't because of that belief. So I just kept working through any space that I had, because I believed, okay, I've got space, I need to fill this with work. If I want this to be a success, I have to work really, really hard, and there has to be some sort of struggle. And there was also struggle in every part of my life, and it's been a really, really deep one, a really tough one to break, but we're finally getting there. So really, my question to you is to ask yourself, okay, if you're struggling with a work-life balance, what do you think is the specific reason for that? What belief or what thought do you have when this happens? Because the thought that you think about the circumstances is usually the thought that created it in the first place. Should I say that again? What you think about your circumstances is the thought that created the circumstance in the first place. So we get to 2019 and I'm about to go on a really big family holiday for my mum's 50th, my nan's 70th, and my manager hands her notice in the day before I go. I think it was the day before I go, or she handed a notice in, which meant she was going to leave. That's what it was. She was going to leave the day before I go. And I'm like, oh my God, this is happening again. And I can't enjoy my holiday again because the support is gone. Another belief that I had that I uncovered in 2020 was I didn't believe that I was supported. And that was another deep cycle. I didn't believe I was supported physically or emotionally. Comes from childhood. It came from childhood. And then just showed up in my business, showed up in work relationships, other relationships, and also my finances. So I want to come on to that in a minute because I think that's going to be a really important part of this story for you to listen to, and how it eventually manifested in my business and my money. So 2019, the manager hands in the notice and I am like, I'm at rock bottom. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like I just can't go through the recruiting and the training again. It takes so much energy from me. So I rang my friend Joe, and he probably doesn't even remember this phone call. But I cried my eyes out down the phone at him, and he said to me, this is what I do. What you need to do is go and sit in the middle of nowhere. Take yourself in the middle of a field and give yourself a talking to. Talk to yourself and do not leave until you come back with an answer, until you have your answer. So I did exactly that. I remember it was like the last week of July or first week of August. It was like that period of time. And the reason I was so upset as well with all of this is because I was about to go on a big family holiday, but then I also had 3 weeks booked in Thailand with one of my friends, and I had to cancel it. I couldn't go, and I was absolutely gutted because I've still not been to Thailand. I really wanted to go. It was a whole 3-week holiday. I'd paid money for it. I was gutted. And also a little bit resentful. Not a little bit, I was very resentful. I became very bitter about it because I'm like, I've got this business, this bloody, I don't even know what to call it, this bloody ship of a business that I'm running, and I'm the boss. I should be able to leave. I should be able to leave when I want to and have a holiday when I want to. I should be able to go, and I can't. Like, I feel trapped. I'm so stuck here. And if you know me, like, I'm Sagittarius through and through. Like, I am a free spirit. I should not be trapped in a box. So that day, that was such a pivotal moment for me. And that, I would say that was really the start of my spiritual journey. But then it really blew up in 2020, like the year later. But that day, I actually felt someone there that day. I felt like someone heard me. Someone was listening, and I felt they answered me. Obviously, I didn't hear anything, but I just knew. I just felt it. What's going on down there? Guys, honestly, I can't thank you enough for continuing to watch me ramble on. And subscribing to the channel as well. If you don't already follow me over on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, it's She's No Ordinary Entrepreneur with underscores in between each word. On TikTok, it's No Ordinary Entrepreneur with underscores in between each word. Now, before you watch the rest of this episode, I want to tell you about a program that I have just released. It is going to change your life. This is not just your ordinary program, hence She's No Ordinary Entrepreneur. This is a lifestyle change. This is spiritual self-development, inner work, where I'm going to teach you how to work on your unconscious mind, your deep unconscious mind, change your beliefs, transform your emotions, change reactive behaviours, and also create a strong connection with the universe and yourself. And what do you get from it? Internal and physical freedom. You get that work-life balance. This is what I want for everybody. I want you to grow a fulfilling, purposeful, heart-led business where you get to earn money by just being you, by being your creative self, by putting your creations out into the world, and also being able to put life first. And we're doing this by creating an electromagnetic field that is clear, a clear channel, because I believe in attraction over action. I do believe we need to take action, but that is only 20% of the work. The rest of it should be the mental and emotional inner work. It's a group program, it's 6 weeks. So if you're interested in joining us, then drop a comment below or DM me on Instagram. And honestly, like, I remember that week as well, like I didn't go into work like I normally would, and my apprentice messaged me, and I think she was a bit worried about me because she was just like, what is going on? Like, this is not like Laura to not come into work. But I felt so depressed. Like, I was really at rock bottom. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but just because I could go on holiday. That was just the cherry on top. It wasn't even that. It was just everything underneath, like the stress, the pressure, the constant feeling of it. Yeah, after that, I felt like something was just pulling me along. There was a saying I used to say to myself all the damn time, the whole 6 years. It was, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Come on, keep going. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Keep going, keep going, keep going. But yeah, that day on the field, it started to get really dark. I was there for hours, like absolute hours. Ever since that day, I felt like something was just pulling me along. It was pulling me along, and I had this like second wind of motivation, because that day I was like, I need to quit. I'm gonna throw the towel in. And from that day, I managed to, like, within the month, I'd like got out of my overdraft, because I'd gone way back into the overdraft again. So I'd made enough money to get out the overdraft. I'd hired 3 new staff. I put them all through like this intense training program, all 3 of them at the same time, so I didn't want to keep training like one person at a time. And that was really fun as well. They all really enjoyed it. We had like workshops. I just made it super fun. And then a few months later, I hired an amazing salon manager. I was like, wow, like finally things are seeming to work out for me. She was great. And I was able to go to Vegas in February 2020 because I could just trust that she was running the ship all good. So that was within a matter of like 5-6 months. So there's, when you ask for help, when you ask for support, and you just have to lean on that faith. Yeah, sometimes it does take a rock bottom moment for you to have no other choice but to lean on faith. But like always, I put the graft in. So those cycles weren't broken, but that's because I wasn't aware. I only became aware that I was in addictive patterns when we went into lockdown, because I then had space and I was like, whoa, what is this? I feel really good about myself. Like, yeah, it was incredible. It was probably one of the best times I've ever had in my life, if I'm honest. And I don't even feel bad saying it. I used to say I feel bad saying it because everyone had a really shit time, but I turned off the news. I was just in my own bubble and I needed it. So to answer your questions about addiction, because overworking is an addictive, reactive behaviour. Alcohol, drinking is an addictive behaviour. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know about my story with alcohol. I am 6 months this week, like totally sober. I've not had 1 drop of alcohol. And it wasn't bad. Like the past few years, it hasn't been bad. I have had stages where I've stopped drinking for a couple of months, but it was always a reactive behavior to not feel an emotion. It was like an escape. It made me feel better to just go out and party and forget. So when we get stuck in these patterns of attracting bad relationships, attracting bad staff members or money, so the whole thing, my whole spiritual awakening was because I got so frustrated with working so hard and so hard and so hard making lots of money, and then where is the money? Why is it not there? And it just didn't make sense to me. And I like to understand things. So when I was trying to manifest that £50,000 that I spoke about in episode 1, I realized, like, oh my God, this is a pattern, and there is a strong belief behind this. And I don't believe I'm worthy. I don't believe I'm able to have it. I don't believe I'm supported. I believe that I need to struggle. And all of these beliefs started to come up. And it was only because I was questioning, why do I have no money, even though I'm working really hard and we've got loads of money and we're making loads of money? It didn't make sense. Why am I making so much profit, but then I don't have any money? What? It's because it's all energy. It's because the energy was coming in because I was working physically for it. But my vessel, my electromagnetic field, was not able to hold it because there were so many blockages in it, because there's so much unhealed trauma, so many beliefs that were actually conflicting with being able to receive and hold on to money. And here's the thing, like, we consciously want what's good for us. We consciously want to have a really nice time. We consciously want peace. We want happiness. We want love. We want money and resources and freedom to support us. We want all of that. But we are driven by our unconscious mind, and that takes up 95% of the energy that we use. That's crazy, isn't it? So 95% of the energy that we use is coming from our unconscious mind. And if we're not conscious of those beliefs, if we're not tapping into our unconscious mind every day, what does that mean? It means we're behaving on autopilot, and we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's when you get stuck in these cycles. So what are we actually addicted to? Because, I stopped drinking alcohol and it was really easy. And I know a few people close to me that have done the same and they've actually found it easy. So what is it that we're actually addicted to? Drinking alcohol and going to alcohol, or overworking, is the reactive behaviour. Underneath that, you've got the belief systems and the emotions. We're actually addicted to the emotions underneath that because they create a chemical reaction in the body, and that's what we become addicted to. So my overworking pattern and not being able to have a work-life balance, I was addicted to the belief that we had to struggle and the feeling of being a victim. Obviously, not consciously. I didn't want to be a victim. I don't want that, and neither do you, right? But our brains like what's familiar because it feels safe. So if we have been in these patterns for so long, if we try and break away from them, the body's like, oh no, but I need that familiar feeling of struggle and pain, and I want that back. So then we get swooped right back into the pattern again, and it's all on autopilot unless you choose to do the inner work, unless you choose to raise your consciousness so you're aware of when those cycles are happening within your brain in the moment, and then you can break the cycle right there and then by changing the way you think, the way you feel, and then you change the behavior. Because it's not really about the physical thing that you do, it starts with the belief systems and the emotions. And this can happen, like, you can do this at home, you can do this yourself that repetitive new behaviors, by creating new habits over and over and over again. Because with that repetition, we are creating new neural pathways in the brain that then change our automatic behavior. So instead of automatically falling into these patterns of lack and struggle and sabotage and overworking, we then fall into automatic patterns of success and peace instead. So I want to leave you with this. There is a way for you to have a work-life balance. There is a timeline. There is a destiny in the future where you have it all. And that only happens every time you decide with your free will to change your current reality. And you can only do that when you break those cycles by stopping yourself in your tracks, becoming aware of what you're thinking and how you're feeling in your body. So this is about becoming really aware, like really self-aware, and pausing and taking that opportunity to find out what you need to learn, to get curious. Okay, what is happening here? Why am I feeling this way? Do I really want to continue feeling like this? No. Okay, so what do I need to do? What do I need to give myself? And give yourself that. So in the moment where you're feeling like, oh, I've got a day off today, but I need to work, like this kind of pressure and anxiety, hang on a minute. This anxiety doesn't feel good to me. And if it doesn't feel good, that means it's not for my highest good right now. If it doesn't feel good in my body, it means that is the opportunity for me to break this cycle, to break a cycle if you don't know what the cycle is. Hold your hand on your heart, other hand on your belly, and just really sit with yourself. Go within, take a few slow, deep breaths and focus on where that pain is in your body. Where is that uncomfortability? Is it in your throat? Is it in your chest? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your ass? Is it in your head? Where is it? And then just connect with that by focusing on it. And the more you do that, the feeling might get more intense for a few seconds. But as you're focusing on it, it will then dissipate. Honestly, it takes about 90 seconds to 2 minutes for an emotion to dissipate. Give it a name. Ask it, what is this? What is this feeling? And if you just breathe and connect with yourself and don't think about anything outside of you, you will hear something. You will hear the name of that emotion. That's how you start connecting with yourself. That's how you start connecting with your emotions. Like if you are emotionally avoidant, then this is a really good exercise for you to do on a daily basis in the morning when you wake up. Just like check in with yourself and ask, okay, what is it that I'm feeling today? When you can give that emotion a name, that means you've got awareness. That means your unconscious has come to your conscious awareness. Like it's actually it's a miracle. Like you're literally creating miracles. You are performing miracles right now when you do that. Once you've named it, then ask yourself, okay, what is it that I need right now? What do I need to give myself? Again, breathe into that feeling in your body and ask it. And listen. Write it down. Give yourself that. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's how you break the pattern of overworking and not having the work-life balance and the freedom that you want. That's how you break it. By giving yourself what you need before anyone else and before anything, before any tasks in your business.